Hello, everyone. We are here for a special live today talking about is Portugal a haven for Black women seeking freedom from stress and burnout? So, we're very blessed today. We have Chrishan and Halisi here today. And so, I'm going to have them introduce themselves and we're going to talk about other options for Black women. So, I talked to you about resources, I talked to you about the stress of being in a toxic job, I talked to you about options that you have. So we're going to talk about a major option that you have as a Black woman. Okay. So if you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. So I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Krishan.
Hey, thank you for having me here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Chrishan Wright. I'm the founder of Black Sick Global and the host of the Black Sick Global podcast. If you are a Black person and you are looking to move abroad, I'm your girl. I can give you inspiration and information to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Krishan. Halisi.
Hey y'all, my name's Halisi, and I'm one half of Our Black Utopia. Me and my husband are co-founders of Our Black Utopia, and we have been living in Lisbon, Portugal for about 2.5 years now. I think our main claim to fame is that we change our financial circumstances, and we help folks who look like us. We're getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan, get their money straight.
Yes.
So that they can retire on time or maybe even early. We took our finances from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth, and you can do it too.
That's amazing. Okay. So, ladies, let's talk about because you guys have both pivoted to Portugal, right? So, I've had both of you guys on my channel. You've talked about your own experience in a toxic job and exited stage right? So, you exited and so you ended up in Portugal. So, can we talk about ways that Portugal can be a haven for Black women experiencing that stress and that trauma and drama at a toxic job?
I'll go first. I think one of the things that folks don't think about, like especially if they get to work remotely, is maybe choosing Portugal as a digital nomad. Portugal has a great digital nomad program, and sometimes just not having to deal with these folks in the office every day makes a big difference. I didn't realize how big of a difference it made until COVID, right? I think a lot of us didn't.
Mhm.
And then I realized it's a feeling that you get as soon as you walk through the door, right? And you know you're gonna have to see them looks and just all of that, and then try
All
to
of
make
that,
small
yes.
talk at the coffee pot.
Oh,
And it's like, yeah,
like
just leave me
I
alone
can't
so I can
stand
just
you
do my
all, right?
job, right? Just leave me alone so I can do my job.
Right. Yes.
And I thankfully haven't been in that situation in a minute.
Ooh.
But what I have seen with women who are here, but that are still working and working remotely, is they have found freedom and a peace being, first of all, not only away from the office,
Mm-hmm.
even though you still got to do your reports and sign in on them Zoom meetings and all of that, but also being in a place where it's not out in the atmosphere. Black women, this I'm just gonna say hatred for Black women, because that's
Yeah.
what's happening in America.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'll leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah. And I would say just around the world, right? Unfortunately, we hear Black women talking about the trauma and drama that they experience at these toxic jobs because of issues of racism around the world. And so you're saying that when you have a greater peace of mind, you don't have to stress about all that gook that you're dealing with. It makes it easier to do your job. And you're saying you do your job remotely. That's an option. Okay. Okay. Krishan, what about for you?
Oh, yeah. For me, Portugal was the thing I didn't know I needed. I knew I was going to move abroad in 2023, but the original plan was New Zealand. And Portugal was that pleasant surprise because I needed to pivot and have a plan B. And when I got here, I just felt this sense of ease on my first scouting trip. And I just knew like 3 days in, I was like, oh, this is where I need to be. But at the time, I thought that I was going to be working. So I wound up working for a multinational company that has an office in Portugal. Was very clear about my intentions. But then it became clearer as time progressed with the gaslighting, the posturing, the moving the yardstick, and things like
Mm,
that, that
mm,
it was a disingenuous interaction. And
mhm.
so, fortunately for me, I had been squirreling away massive amounts of money,
Good.
especially during the down market. And
Mhm,
so, when push came to shove and I decided to take the leap, not
mhm,
only did I have a good cushion
mhm.
that ultimately allowed me to retire early. And so now that has grown. I, am able to do Black Sec Global full time and live the life that even exceeded my own expectations of what I
Mm,
thought was possible. And so
mhm.
that's why I will continue to sing Portugal's praises. So that's my story.
Yeah, I want to speak to two things before I go to the next question. One, you said moving the guard stick, moving the measuring stick, right? I
Mhm.
think for many of us as Black women, we come into the workplace and a lot of times we're overqualified, right? To even get the job, we're overqualified. But then we get there, they send us these messages like, oh, you're not quite good enough. I need for you to do da 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 da. I need you to get another degree. I need you to get some more credentials. Even though we're up and above and you got other people around you mediocre at best, right? So I think a lot of us can relate to that. The other thing you talked about is preparing to get ready to leave. So when we talk about leaving a toxic job, I don't tell anybody just up and leave unless you're in immediate danger, physically and or psychologically. But what we're talking about is planning. And ladies, we're going to talk about something that's available to you, the more Move to Portugal virtual summit. I have that information on the screen right now. It'll also be in the description section. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about ways that Black women can start envisioning possibly a life in Portugal. Is it affordable? What is it like there? Is it welcoming there for Black people? Can you all speak to that?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. So yes, the short answer, it is affordable. The people are very generous and polite. I have been fortunate with my interactions here. Currently, I'm taking Portuguese classes 4 days a week now,
Ooh,
which has helped me because I want to be conversational. I don't have the goal of fluency,
got it.
but in terms of affordability, my bills are maybe 50 to 60% less than what they were in the States.
What?
And yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
and and it's great also to be here because in the States, you're tethered. A lot of us feel tethered to
Mm-hmm.
that toxic job because
Mm-hmm.
your health care is tied
Mm-hmm.
to your employment. So,
Mm-hmm.
literally, your life hangs in your employer's hands in totality in
Yes.
terms of your ability to make money, to pay
Yes.
for your lifestyle, and
Yes.
then in order to preserve your health. But the
Yes.
kicker is that that toxic job is ultimately causing you to need that health insurance and that health care. And then when you feel like you might need it, you get in your head and you're like, oh my gosh, can I take the day? Maybe I could, Google it and stuff. And it's like, no, we need to understand that there are outlets for us, that there are
Mm-hmm.
places in the world
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have to be a beast of burden, that you can
Mm-hmm.
live an affordable lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
in a peaceful country and
Mm-hmm.
have a comfortable life of ease. And so
Mm,
that is what I would say to any
yeah.
Black woman who is thinking that it's not possible. I mean,
Yeah.
Halisi and I are proof that it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And
What was I
and
saying?
I never made Chrishan money, okay? Because
I didn't always make Krishan money. there
so
was a
so
period
and
when Krishan had $50.
I know a lot of us could probably say that. I never made six figures. Rick never made six figures. We had six-figure titles,
Mm,
six-figure responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you know how they do, and then they replace you with two people,
That
right?
part.
and make you
Right?
feel like you always have to strive for more, 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 more. Yep.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And so, just to give people some kind of idea, one thing that I wanted to say when I was listening to Chrishan, I'm going to
Mhm.
talk about the money in a minute, but I don't know if y'all saw, but about 2 days ago, this young Black kid was walking in Florida and he was being followed literally by like a mob of white men asking him, "What are you doing in this neighborhood?" And he
Wow.
was doing this nervous laugh, and he was like, "Look at these guys, look, they're like they're and one was following in the car, and then one guy got out of the car, went to get a gun, and some other neighbor went and stopped him, and you can see he had a gun. Yeah,
Wow.
it was just a kid walking. And
It was like Trayvon Martin
um
again in some ways, right?
that's exactly what I thought
Oh
of. And
my
Florida with them
god.
damn stand your ground
Yes.
laws. And so here in Portugal, we get to walk around, we get to be in public spaces and
Mhm.
just sit and play Candy Crush. And and ain't nobody trying to say, "Do you belong here?" That is not our reality,
And
right?
your
And
daily existence, your mortality, thinking about your
it,
own sense of safety.
exactly,
Wow.
exactly. I mean, to give you an idea. So we have been living in the same apartment for the whole time we've lived here,
Mhm.
and this is Europe. So in August, it shuts down. These people know how. Look, these people know about work-life balance.
Okay.
A fruitarian around the corner, August, he's gone. The cafe across the street in August, he's gone. Rick's like, "Well, he could get a family member." It's like the family's on vacation with them.
No,
They don't,
we're
they're not trying
resting.
to just make more and more and more, right?
Right.
And so here comes September, and I see my fruitaria guys back, and I'm like, "You're back." And I probably said it in English. He gave me a hug and did the European
Oh.
both.
Uh-huh.
Come on now. This is the
Yeah.
grocer. This
Wow.
is the grocer. Okay. And
Wow.
he knows that I'm not Portuguese. He knows that he thought I was from Inglaterra. He thought I was from England.
Hmm.
But he now knows that I'm from the United States. But yeah,
Mhm.
so the notion that we don't have um, just the freedom to be in public spaces without worrying about our safety is
Mm.
not an issue here. Now, does that mean there is absolutely no violence? There's violence everywhere, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But this is one of the safest nations in the world.
Wow.
Last time I checked, it was the sixth safest country in the world.
Ooh, wow.
Y'all didn't
I didn't know that.
know?
No. That's
Y'all
amazing.
didn't
That's
know? It,
amazing.
it is amazing. It's there's so little crime that when an armed robbery happened about 3 months ago, you would have thought that it was like a January 6th thing, the way the WhatsApp group was blowing up. I'm like,
Mm.
one armed robbery this whole year in the
Wow.
country. And y'all talking
Wow.
about getting extra locks and all this other stuff. And I'm like,
Wow.
you guys, now you from Atlanta, you from DC, what y'all talking about?
Exactly, right? But I think because in America, they really the social programming is that America is the safest place. And if you go other places, it's so dangerous and the governments are unstable and all that brainwashing stuff, right? But that's not true. That's not true. And so when you have people who actually are there and have a very different experience, I think most of us cannot even relate to feeling safe, that degree of
Yeah,
safety. I think most of us are always kind of like looking behind, looking all around. And I remember, just like you said, girl, you live in Detroit, you live in Atlanta, you live in St. Louis, like Stephanie said, you live in what are you talking about? Is it safe, right? Yes, it is safe.
exactly.
And the other thing too is I want to quote Stephanie Perry too, where she says, a job is a way for us to make money. But in America, we've been taught that our job is our identity, it is who we
Right.
are, but that's not true. And if a job is making you sick, that's why you're accessing healthcare benefits. It's not a good job. It's not a good job. So, Halisi, can you talk about what is the Black expat experience in Portugal? What does that look like?
Y'all, first of all, I'm gonna tell y'all, go after this, go look at my birthday celebration. I think I called it building community in Portugal, as
Okay.
opposed to I'm supposed to go live and it's my birthday, so this is what we gonna do. So one of my best friends from the States, from Denver, I showed her some of the video, and she's like, "Oh my God, Halisi, you have more friends there than you had here,
Wow.
and you've been here for 20 years."
So it's quite a
So,
few Black people who are over there.
oh, there's hundreds. I'm
Wow.
still meeting people who have been here for like as long as I have, almost as long as I have, some longer than I have. It's like, where you been at?
Wow.
Well, I went to this. Oh, I missed that. Oh, I went to this. Oh, I missed that one too. Right. Like, so we have meetups, and I have to give a shout out for Heather of Black in Portugal, because the meetups that they're doing and the WhatsApp groups that sprang from that have really consolidated the Black English speaking community. And we also partner with the other folks from the African diaspora to do language exchanges and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But back to the money. The other thing that I wanted to say, like, you don't have to take that promotion and get more stressed to make more money. You can lower expenses.
Good point.
Right? You can lower expenses and still save the same amount of money. Like our utilities, even in the winter, because outside the United States, they build in concrete for the most part, and it's not insulated. And I am a Cali girl. Even though I moved from Denver, I'm a Cali girl. And when it's cold, I'm turning on the heat. Like, I'm not being sparse here. I am turning on the heat. And on average, even in the winter time, all of our utilities are not more than 150 euro, which is about $175.
That's all your utilities.
Yes, not including cell phone. Add another 48 euro for both cell phones.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
All you can eat. All you can eat. Our cable, and it's probably basic. I don't know, because it goes to my landlord, and we don't watch it, so I haven't asked to add anything to it. He said I could put in my name whenever I want. I'm like, eh. So, but the cable comes with a landline that, of course, we don't use. It's 36 euro a month.
What? Wow.
I could never get just basic for that kind of price.
No, not at all. Not even think about it. Not even think about it.
Right?
No.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And then the other thing about here is the food is really fresh. So we're talking about health. We're talking about, some parts of our unhealthiness is the food that we eat. And then if you're stressed out on top of that, it's just going to make your health situation even worse.
True.
Here, they still have butchers on every corner. They still have fishmongers on every corner. So my butcher knows when I go in, he's like, do you want the usual? Do you want something new? What you want? And then then how fat do you want it cut? Bacon, freshly sliced. How thick do you want it? Because they do it thin here. No, I need it thick. Give me my bacon thick.
Okay, personalized treatment.
Thick, right? But if I'm doing Brazilian food, they do it thin. Portuguese, they do it thin. So, you can get everything exactly how you want it. And I walked out, I remember I asked for a slab of ribs. And he said I had to take the whole slab. I'm like, oh, here we go. Wow. So I walked out with, I don't know how much it weighed, but the slab was like this. I mean, it was long.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And he cut it up for me. He broke the bone for me because, it's got to fit in my refrigerator, my freezer.
Oh my gosh.
I had so much. We did at my birthday party have some braised ribs. I think I paid
You talk about
28
abundance.
euro.
Wow.
Yes, 28 euro.
Wow.
I used to pay at Costco getting the steaks that I liked. I used 3 steaks. Would be $85 during the pandemic.
Wow. Outrageous.
$85. That was like our treat once a month.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
But here you could get those same steaks for a third of the price or less.
That's amazing.
Or less.
That's amazing.
Easy.
And I saw somebody in the chat wrote about like $85 is just the electric bill. That's just the electric bill, right?
Oh yeah.
So, oh my God. Yes. So big difference. And somebody asked, what does a typical week look like for a black expat in Portugal?
as busy or as relaxed as you want it to. So think of Portugal like California.
Mm.
We have one whole side of the country is ocean and water.
Mm.
So we have lovely, beautiful beaches. We have shallow beaches, which means they're green like the Caribbean.
Mm.
And then we have the big surfing beaches like Hawaii. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest surfing beaches, Nazare. Now, I'm going to try to surf, but you're going to take me to the bunny hill, right? You're going to
Okay.
take me over there to that little, because, and I got to get back in shape before I take my lessons. So maybe by next summer, I'll be ready. But like, I know folks are going on a wine tour. Folks are doing some train ride. We have the Sangria Society. We have the Alma Wine Society. Then we have folks who do the music thing. And they're just all, once you're here, then you just get added to the WhatsApp groups.
Wow.
And so, and then you can be as socially busy, like some friends of ours who are now in the States, they'll be back soon.
Mm-hmm.
We would joke, like, we have to make an appointment to get on their social calendar because
Wow.
they'd be out every other night. Every other night.
And I've heard you and Halisi and you and Rick talking about on your channel that like people are out like late at night, at the park, like the kids, but everybody feels safe and it's just like more community and just friendly
Exactly.
environment. Yeah.
Our living room overlooks a park.
Mm-hmm.
And say Friday, Saturday night, and Rick and I decide to do Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
It is nothing to hear them out in the park play. It was raining today, so they ain't gonna be out there. Mm-hmm. But playing cards, playing music, not loud, but loud enough so I can kind of hear but I can see them, and then when they laugh, it echoes off the building. So then I can definitely hear that. And then here come the dog walkers. So then now the dog walkers are out there. Now the dogs are barking. And look, the city does not sleep until like 2-3 o'clock in the morning in the neighborhoods.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think many of us can relate to sirens, helicopters, but not laughter. Not hearing laughter around and people just happy to be around one another. What a shift. What a shift. So, Chrishan, we were talking earlier about the Black expat experience or community in Portugal. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. The community here is phenomenal. Oftentimes, we don't go more than 2, 3 days without seeing one another. We're
Wow.
always doing something together. And then, even within that, other people are in different communities and then they share information. It might be about an exhibit, it might be about a festa, or something happening in another country, because these countries are as close as states are in the US for perspective. And so it might be, something's happening in Paris. Well, that's a 2-hour flight. Or, let's go to London. That's about a 2-hour flight. Like, we can drive to Spain. And so I think what is beautiful about this is that not only do we have this ability to collaborate with one another, but I think Halisi alluded to it a little bit as I was coming back on, is all of us, it's not uncommon to have a conversation about like, oh, what are you doing this week? Oh, let's go to this museum. But next week I might be in Thailand or Belgium, and we're like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to Morocco in the for a day trip or something like that.
Wow.
It's not
For a day
uncommon.
Trip.
Well, it's like an hour and a half flight from Lisbon.
Oh, wow.
So it's not, if you get the first flight out, maybe.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's not uncommon to do these things that seemingly were impossible, improbable, inaccessible. And we sometimes go on trips together. And so that's been the beauty of this chapter of my life. I wouldn't say necessarily phase, right? Or maybe chapters of my life, is that it really has elevated my life experience. It's extended the quality of my life in the sense that in the United States, while I had my routine, I had my children,
Mhm.
my routine, it was like Groundhog's Day.
Mm,
It's like, okay,
mhm.
time to make the donuts,
Mm.
right? Get up, get the kids ready to school, go to the office, put the mask on, not
Ooh,
just for the office, but
yeah.
also, all the other clear folk that might be hiding in Karen and Ken's in the wings.
Mm,
And
mm,
then, take that armor off,
mhm,
get myself together, transition back into mom mode, right? Rinse and repeat. Whereas here, I am the most present I've ever been in
mm,
my life. I'm not fast forwarding to the future or ruminating about the past.
mhm,
Um, and we all have this collective desire to be in community with one another because we genuinely like one another.
mhm,
And it's not as isolationist as it was in the States, where I had friends that were in the same state and it could be a year, sometimes two, before I see them.
yeah.
And I have friends that are in neighboring countries and I see them more often, right?
Wow.
And so that is just the thing that I didn't realize I was missing so much
Mhm.
Mhm,
or needed in this journey. When you think about moving abroad, you think about the mechanics of it, picking
mhm,
up your stuff, clearing
mhm,
out things, getting your physical self and some of your possessions to
mhm,
another environment.
mhm,
What people often overlook
mhm,
is that life can be enhanced by
Yeah.
being in a community not only with, in our case, Black expats, but
mhm.
also the collective community in Portugal, where people are looking out for one another. It's not
Yeah.
like
What
someone's
a
turning,
concept.
right? Exactly. It's not like somebody's turning a blind eye or
Mhm,
ear to
mhm,
what's going on. And
mhm,
so that makes you want to be able to, in my mind, right, lean into more of
Mhm.
my humanity,
mm,
in a
Yes.
way that even I was becoming jaded and was
mhm,
like, oh, but now it's like, I'm helping people, strangers, strangers are helping me. And
mhm.
I'm not like, oh, what do you want?
What are you trying to
It's
get over me? Are you trying to sell something to
exactly.
me? Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
that. It's something really beautiful, and so it has reinforced my belief in humanity,
Mm,
and I'm not as fatalistic about some of the things as far as where things have been headed. At least as it
mhm,
relates in the States,
mhm.
because it has renewed the sense of optimism. Because
Yeah,
I'm able to see that all is not lost. I can
yes.
have a conversation with
Yes.
someone, like, for example, in my Portuguese class, there are
Mhm,
several students that are Nepalese, several students that are from Pakistan, one student that's from Singapore, a couple that are from Iran, one lady from Russia. We had a student that was also from Ukraine. Like,
wow.
these are countries that United States, some of them that have been like, oh, no, 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 you don't want to
Mhm,
mix and mingle with those folk, right?
mhm, mhm.
Um, but people are people at the end of the
True,
day.
true.
And I'm learning from them, they're learning from me. And this cultural exchange is a beautiful thing to bear witness to,
Yeah,
and something that I hope that people that are watching are inspired to pursue for themselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes.
I think it'll totally change the way you look at the world and the way you look at yourself in the world.
Mm,
Leaving the United States, in my opinion, is the best thing a Black woman, a Black person can do,
mm,
and for an extended period of time, because we are, the racism, the unique style of racism, because racism is global,
right,
anti-Blackness is global.
right.
The unique style of racism in the United States is something else.
Yeah.
It is something else.
It's
And
life-threatening on
and
multiple
I'm going to
levels.
tell
Mm.
you, it really is. And and just to piggyback on what Chrishan said, I've been on the bus and had, young European Portuguese as opposed to Black Portuguese, African Portuguese, give up their seat for me, especially when I have groceries, because I don't look my age, but they'll give up their seat, like helping people off of the bus, getting off of the bus and making sure, and helping moms with their strollers. Like the other day, this young Black man, no, he was a kid, he's a teenager, you can tell he's still floppy in this, but he's helping some stranger woman get the stroller up on the bus. And then he's back to doing whatever he was doing on his phone. And then when she got off, he helped her off and then got back on the bus. He did not know her from Adam, never said a word, just did it. That is the humanity that you can find outside the United States. The Portuguese, they're a unique people, and there's something magical here. I keep saying it. I don't know if it's because their democracy is not that old. I don't know what it is, but they are really a kind group of people. They're kind.
Wow. I want to say several things that based on what you guys said. One is you talked about a very relaxed way of being, and you can choose the kind of day or week you want. So thinking about not having that stress coursing through your body every day, all day, when you're working in a toxic job and all that kind of stuff. So you've addressed that. And so when you think about not having that cortisol going through your body, that can impact you in terms of improved physical and psychological health. So that's a benefit. You also both talked about you're in an environment they value humanity. And as Black people, our humanity is questioned all the time. Do we, experience pain, or we shouldn't protect people, or we should all these other things? Our humanity is at question. So when you're saying have an extended amount of time outside the country, just that liberation and feeling that sense of being valued as a human. And you're saying this extends to foreigners too, right? Some people might say, oh, well, that's only for people who live in the country. You're saying this is across the board. So can we talk a little bit more about what is the culture in Portugal, and what does the diversity look like there? So you talked a little bit about in your class, you have all different groups there, but what is the culture like there?
Well, so we're speaking mostly about Lisbon and the major cities. Now, what happens in the rural areas, right, is a little bit different. However, I have to say, so Rick and I started every other month taking a week off and just kind of decompressing, putting the email, reply on and all of that stuff. And so we've been visiting little towns. And even like in Évora, we went to Évora and we went to Aveiro. I do see Black and brown people there.
Oh.
But not like in Lisbon or Porto or Coimbra. Chrishan and I blend in. When we walk down the street, they assume we're Portuguese.
Oh, so they're like rubbernecking and staring and
no, they just assume we're Portuguese. And that, I think that was one of the key things, that and the community that we have here. But I got that when Rick and I first came on our scouting trip way back in 2022, when we walked up to a restaurant and he just started speaking to me in Portuguese, I was like, do I look Portuguese? And he's like, yes. Oh, English? Please, baby, because all I know is hello and goodbye and thank you. Unlike Chrishan, who did the things that you're supposed to do. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I'm out. Okay. I had to do it that way. But yeah, we blend in. So it's not like you're always going to be looked at as an immigrant until you open your mouth.
Okay. And even once you do that, you're still accepted.
I have never gotten any kind of attitude except for breaking traditional norms. And so this is the thing. Don't assume that when somebody's giving you attitude, that it's racism. Because that's where we go. I like the first time I got real United States. I don't understand, I was here, But the tradition is here in Portugal. They value They value the elderly, they value kids, they value moms with kids. And so it is tradition. If you're standing in the grocery store line and little old lady comes up, she gets to go ahead. Little old man comes up, they get to go ahead. And I didn't
I'm here, right?
because that's not, we don't care about anything in the
No.
United States but ourselves and what we have to do, right? Rugged individualism. Here, it's about community. It's about we're all here, and these are our elders, and we're going to respect them. We know that they can stand for a long time, and this and that and the other. So that's tradition. And so I had to reprogram and say, okay, Halisi,
Yeah.
attitude does not necessarily mean racism. There's some
Yeah.
things you just don't know. It's a different
Yeah.
culture.
That's a major shift because for us in America, Black people, that's the automatic way we're thinking because racism is infused in everything. It's just like you go to the store, you go wherever, it's some racist encounter. Okay, so that's natural. So you're like, wait a minute, it's actually not racism. Oh my God, what's happening here? And I want us to think about because you talked about too. So Chrishan, you've been taking language classes. Halisi, are you taking language classes? And the issue of language, should that be a barrier to people coming to the Move to Portugal virtual summit or thinking about moving to Portugal?
No. English is pretty widely spoken here.
Okay.
Unlike Spain. It would be harder in Spain. So I started taking private lessons when we first got here, and I need to get back to it.
Okay.
I still take Spanish, which helps. So because it's so similar, and I know the pronunciation. So I keep practicing. I've got my little cheat sheet that I have everywhere.
Okay.
And then I've got stickers everywhere telling me what this is called and that's called. You know, I know how to do it. So, but yeah, I do need to go back to it so I can get ready for this government class that Chrishan's taken. But yeah, do not let language be a barrier.
True.
Most of the Southeast Asians here speak English before they speak Portuguese. So, I mean, we're talking about needing just transactional Portuguese at this point, right?
Okay.
To be able to get stuff done. There's usually a banker who speaks English. The grocery stores mainly self-checkout half the time anyway, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, most of there's always a grocer who speaks English. The pharmacies, they speak English.
Awesome.
That's been my experience on both sides of the river. Even over in a more working class neighborhood, first pharmacist I went to, she spoke English. So, and she was Black.
Oh, okay. Incredible.
That's another thing. We are really in the main part of the economy, like in traditional jobs, not just hawking wares on the side of the road, like in some other European countries.
Yeah.
Who shall remain nameless.
Yes. So can we talk a little bit about the residency and visa process, like the logistics, so Black women will know like what they need to anticipate or prepare for if they want to go to Portugal?
Yeah, for sure. So, as part of the summit, our second year in a row, we have an immigration attorney who is well versed in all things immigration, can go over the visa options, but the one that's most popular, actually, there are two that are really popular here. One is the D7, which is also known as the retirement visa, and then a digital nomad visa that was introduced about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Really as it relates like to the pandemic and the shift towards working online. And so most people come in one of those two pathways. Both have an income threshold. So the one for the digital nomad visa is higher. It's I believe it's 3 times the salary, the average monthly salary for a Portuguese person. We're now towards the tail end of this year, so that number is going to change in 2025. Same with the digital, the D7 rather. It's a lower threshold, so you just have to have the amount that's the minimum wage. I think when I came in, it was about €850 a month. Again, that number changes on a yearly basis. But then you have all of the other more formal requirements. So, self-sufficiency, health insurance, you have your application, your personal statement, why you want to move to the country, explain, have you visited before, what you like, how you see your life, like make your application come off the page. And then you have to go to this like third party, which is like an application processor, VFS, and they kind of streamline the process, make sure that you have all of your I's dotted, all of your T's crossed, and then that gets forwarded to the Portuguese consulate. And then you do the second half in country. Once you are approved, you can do the second half in Portugal. Like I said, there are a lot of similarities to the two visas, but there are some differences, and Sandra's going to break that down for those of you that attend the summit.
Awesome. That was a lot of information. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's a lot.
And I'm not an attorney.
And did you mention an FBI background check?
Oh, no, that too.
Yeah. You have to want to come here. It is a very straightforward process, unlike the United States, right? It's a very straightforward process. And once you get your temporary residency, they don't give permanent residency right off the bat like Mexico does, unless you're doing the golden visa route. And there's only one situation for that at this point. So you get a temporary, and then you go to renew, which is, it really is just kind of administrative. Make sure you're still here, you still meet the threshold. It's pretty perfunctory. I've never seen anyone get denied, though. It could happen. And then after that, you can apply for permanent or citizenship.
Yes.
So you can apply for citizenship within 5 years, y'all. That's EU citizenship.
Yes, and that is coveted.
If you have citizenship there, do you have to give up your American citizenship? Okay.
No.
Good to know.
Yeah. And the thing, I think too, to just add on to what Halisi said, is there are requirements and you have to go through them. But, I know there's 2 people that are currently living in Portugal that originally were denied. And I think part of what I mentioned earlier about making sure that your personal statement really is clear and concise and can really tell the story on your behalf is really important. And then again, just coming to the summit, hearing the latest and greatest from an attorney who's feet on the street, who can tell you those nuances because she's down there every day talking and helping people. I think that's really what gives those that are successful the edge.
Oh, that's very important, right? So what you're saying is at the Move to Portugal Summit, there's going to be an attorney there to break things down in terms of your different options and kind of walk you through the process, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we've got someone who is going to talk about moving here on a student visa as an adult.
What?
She moved here as she moved here on a student visa and culinary school, right? So she moved here as an adult on a student visa. We are also going to have people from different parts of the metro area and different parts of the country, so that you see we're not just in Lisbon, although I'm a city girl. Look, I need to be with. And someone was asking about theater. Anything you can do in the United States, you can do in Portugal. What you want to do? You're right. Like even Disneyland is just right there in France. It's 2-hour flight. Right. You still get Disneyland. You can still get McDonald's. You can still get KFC if you want to do that crap. They say the KFC is better
right
here.
Outside my window.
Wow. They say KFC is better here. I don't know. I've never tasted it. It's too damn expensive. I'd rather have real food from the mom and pop shop at a regular price. Right. I mean, listen. We were in the tourist area of Coimbra, which is a university town. It's beautiful. We have a friend that lives there in a brand new build, bigger than Chrishan's got a luxury apartment. Theirs is even bigger, and they're paying €1,300 a month with a river view. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. No, 2.5 baths, huge deck. I mean, this is how folks are living. This is how folks are living.
1,300. Wow.
Right. And so Rick and I went to to one of the little cafes right there in the middle of the tourist area. He got hamburger, fries, and a beer for €3.50.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So you guys are really laying it all out, right? So let's talk a little bit about travel options for Portugal because we just talked about like to Spain and France and all these places. What about other areas that might be easy for Black women to travel to if they were in Portugal? And then I want you guys to talk more about the Move to Portugal Summit.
Sure. So travel is really accessible within the country. One of
Yeah.
the things I love about Portugal is, especially in the greater metro area, is that it's the infrastructure is very solid. So I pay €40 a month for what's called a Navigant card, and that covers the metro, the comboios, so the long trains. It's the bus as well as the ferries. So it can take
And the
you
trolleys
and the
and the
trolleys.
trams.
Yes, and the trams. And I just took the trolley recently. I still haven't taken a tram yet. So, but I've got most of those down with the exception of that last one. So that's pretty great for that price.
Mhm.
And, Ubers and stuff like that's great and really affordable. However, even if you live somewhere like Porto in the north, I've seen advertisements for a bus from Porto to Madrid for €2.99.
Stop it.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
At
shoot.
What?
Orient Station.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. two
I'm
euro
not
ninety
surprised,
nine.
though. I'm not
Wow.
surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not
So there's
surprised.
a wealth of different opportunities, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit more about the Move to Portugal Summit. What
Mhm.
is it, the virtual summit? What are people going to get from it? Who's the ideal people to come? Tell us all about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think anyone who thinks they might want to move to Portugal needs to check it out. They need to hear from other folks who, not just YouTubers, right? Like normal folks who live here, why they, we were going to have people who've been here for 5-6 years, and then people who've been here for 5 or 6 months, right? We're going to have a plethora of people that you can talk to and understand what their experiences are. And that's everyone from a young family with kids, with babies and school-age kids, to older single women who've had to go through the healthcare system here and everything else, and everyone in between. So from that standpoint, you're going to get everything you need. You want to talk about the technical side, Chrishan, besides our attorney?
Oh, yeah. So we have a tax professional that will be coming to talk about the taxes because, of course, as U.S. citizens, you can't get away from those.
Oh, you still got to pay
We
taxes?
Yeah, wherever you live in the world.
Ooh,
There
okay.
are only
Yeah, gotta
3
love the
countries in
United
the world.
States.
Yeah.
They
There are
follow
only
you
3
everywhere.
countries
Okay.
in the world that require or that tax their citizens, even if they don't live in the country, and the US is one of them and the
Wow.
biggest, right?
Wow.
But that doesn't mean that you will be double taxed. And it doesn't mean that
Correct.
you necessarily have to pay taxes in the United States, but you always have to file.
Yes.
So
You have to
Okay.
file.
they'll talk about all of the situations and explain it
Mhm.
because
All the
we ain't tax
nuances.
folk.
Yeah.
We ain't
Yeah.
tax folk.
No. So we have
We'll have
that.
people on their healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare, real estate, which is something that is going to impact you regardless because you need to have accommodations as part of your visa application. So whether you're
Mm.
purchasing or renting, so we're going to have that covered. We're also going to have a session on building a business. So some of our people in our community have started businesses since moving to Portugal. And so they will be breaking down why they chose Portugal to start their business, and then also a Portuguese attorney who can talk about the formal side of the process. And so we're really excited about that too.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
So because healthcare is a big issue. And I saw somebody in the chat said they would love to come. They're concerned about remote work.
Mm-hmm.
So is that going to be addressed too?
Yeah, last year at the first Move to Portugal virtual summit, we had Libria Jones do a session on remote work. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that we're doing is we're going to have these add-on opportunities. And so we're
Oh,
still fine-tuning that
okay.
part of it, but definitely we've heard you. So many people that are here have been able to either secure remote work before they've moved to Portugal or have been able to do that once they've moved to Portugal. Because one of the unique things about the D7 visa is that even if you are on the retirement visa, it doesn't prevent you from working.
Oh, okay. Now,
Yeah.
is the golden visa the same thing as a retirement visa?
No.
What's the
No,
golden visa? What is that?
that's rich people visa.
Oh, okay. You got
So,
a whole bunch of money.
yes, originally it was for folks who were willing to invest $500,000 in property,
Mm,
or I believe 250,000 in a business,
mm.
or like 135 into a nonprofit NGO or like the symphony or something like that. That was more of like kind of a donation. So you
Wow.
buy a visa, right?
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of Chinese people were doing that. A lot of Russians were doing that. Instead of fixing their own house,
They were doing that.
they were they were hedging their bets.
Oh
They were
God.
hedging their bets.
Okay.
So and the Portuguese got a little pissed about that. You
Mm.
know, because they were buying these properties and then Airbnb them or doing whatever, and with
Mhm.
no commitment to the community.
Wow.
So, one of the things that Chrishan and I are really strong about is not having that colonizer mentality, like coming into somebody else's house and then
Mhm.
trying to, jack up prices or do this or that. Like I made sure we are paying Portuguese prices.
Mm.
So we're not the cause of,
Yeah.
them expecting or holding out.
Yeah. So you
You
being
know,
there doesn't harm other Portuguese people in terms of their
exactly.
quality of life as well.
Exactly. And then it was important for me, like I couldn't, because because of the situation, I couldn't guarantee it, but I wanted to rent from a Portuguese person.
Oh.
Mhm.
So I was fortunate enough to be able to do that, and they live next door.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
convenient. That's convenient. Okay.
It is
So when is the Move to Portugal Summit? How do people
November
register?
1st
November
through the
1st?
3rd.
Okay.
November 1st through the 3rd.
Okay. And then they can
Yes,
register by what's on the screen, right?
Yes.
exactly.
Okay. And is there a deadline for when they need to register?
Well,
No,
they
you
can buy the
can.
replays,
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Replays
after the
available
fact.
too.
Yeah, the
Okay.
replays will be
Mhm.
available. The replays from last year are available.
Yes.
But I would say you want to register by the 1st. You
Okay.
don't want to
Mhm.
wait until the last minute, because you might miss something. And as
Okay.
we, finalize the schedule, if you're trying to register on the 1st, we might be getting started while you're trying to register. Then you're online. I can't make this work. You know how we do. Can you? And then baby, we in the summit right now. We can't be technical.
We
You
can't
need to
stop
do
right
this in
now.
advance,
Yeah, you should have
right?
registered earlier. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
please.
And I
Yeah.
see a question in the chat about, are there people from the UK who can advise, especially as we're no longer part of the EU?
Yeah, so
Yes.
our friends in the UK have a delicate situation to navigate because of Brexit.
Mhm.
And there are people actually within Blacks Global Passport that are moving into Portugal that are from the UK. There are quite a few people from the UK that moved here right around Brexit to secure. It does create like a challenging little situation for them to navigate.
Mhm.
I would definitely suggest that they tap into the session with Sandra Gomes Pinto to talk about that
Yeah.
particular set of circumstances, because it is something that she has to deal with, and it's not uncommon. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we will take questions in advance. We're also going to have someone
Oh.
speaking about Portuguese. Yeah, especially, certain things, like if there's only 3% of the audience that are from the UK, we want to make that question might get missed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But both Chrishan and I have followers from the UK. They came to meetups. They're all
Yes.
involved in the community, and I love it. But yeah, we'll also have someone on to talk about Portuguese taxes.
Oh.
Mhm.
So yeah, any a nation that has a tax treaty with the United States, if if you have to pay taxes here in Portugal, then you will not have to pay taxes on that same money in the United States. You still have to file, but you won't have to pay taxes. And so he's going to explain that, and then we'll have someone from the United States explain what you should be doing to prepare tax-wise for a move. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And another question came in. I'm wondering if Portugal is still a good place to consider without the NHR tax scheme.
That's why you need to come to the summit, because you hear, oh, they got a 48% tax rate. Okay. Maybe it depends, right? It depends. They have a progressive tax system just like the United States. So you're here. This is your taxable income. Then you have write-offs. Now this is your taxable income, right? And so, you need to find out about your situation. So yes, I think you should come to the summit so that you can hear it explained from a person who is an expert. And not someone who's a layman trying to explain it to you. But I have to tell you, my tax attorney in the United States says we pay 40% here in the United States. It's especially as self-employed, between state tax, city tax, federal taxes. Don't get it twisted, Halisi. And I was like, well, damn, yeah, huh?
Now you put it like that, right? Okay. And then I see people are saying they're coming, they're registering. And as we're winding down, I'm sorry, the light went out. I'm in a different
No
office.
worries. I can still see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So can you guys both share, as we're winding down, can you guys both share, in addition to the summit, which people are going to register for, in addition to the summit, can you please share about other services that you offer and also talk about your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you go first, Halisi? No, go ahead.
Okay. So Our Black Utopia is my husband and my YouTube channel. We launched March 2022, and it seems incredible that it's going on 2.5 years already. We do Beyond the Bling, which is our financial independence course for late bloomers. And we have about 200 people who are registered, and it comes with monthly group coaching. We also do one-on-one coaching. And so you can find all of that. And then there's a lot of freebies on our website as well, downloads and stuff like that. If you want to DIY it, we have a ready to retire toolkit and things like that on our website. And then we do a meetup in June. So around the Juneteenth holiday is when we have done it in the past. And so it's probably going to happen again in 2025. And so between our financial independence course and our Ready to Retire toolkit, we will get you financially situated. So just in case Portugal's not the place, we can help you live the life of your dreams someplace else. Find your own Black utopia.
Oh, I like that. Okay. And Chrishan, what about for you?
Yes. So Blacksa Global has this ecosystem. We have the Blacksa Global podcast, which is available on all podcast platforms, our YouTube channel, on all the socials. But then we have our private community, Blacksa Global Passport, where we have our accountability group. We have workshops that take place there. I also offer one-on-one coaching, and then our signature program for people who are interested in moving to Portugal. I host Nomad Noir, which is our scouting extravaganza. And so I will be your fairy scout mother, helping you navigate Portugal. So for those that have come, I had 2 cohorts this year, and then next year for 2025, we're having a spring cohort, which is now sold out. And our fall cohort, we have 3 spots remaining. So if anybody's interested, definitely hit me up, and hopefully I can support you in your journey to Portugal.
Awesome. So I have all of the information description section, but the most important thing right now is to register for the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, which is November 1st. And I want to say to Halisi and Chrishan, I'm so happy to have you here. I've watched both of you on your channels. So I want to encourage everyone to check out the resources that are available to you. I think that we have pretty covered that, yes, Portugal is a haven for Black
It is.
women who are experiencing stress and burnout. I think you probably knew that coming in, okay? But now we have absolutely indicated
Yes.
ways, all the ways it is. So everyone, please give this video a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know to suggest this video to other Black women or other Black
Yes.
people. Also, subscribe to all of our channels. Turn on notifications so you know when we are posting something live. Halisi, I saw somebody in the chat was talking about they're glad you're feeling better. Yes, we're glad that
Yes.
Halisi's feeling much better. Also, please share this video with at least 2 other Black women or Black people, okay? Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for watching. And again, register for the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Halisi and Chrishan, you can stay on for a moment. Okay, bye
Okay.
everyone. Take care.
Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you.
Thank you.